On here.
Hey, Mitch, how's it going? Well, you know, I smoked marijuana have since I was 14. I am 37. What'd you think? Well, I haven't smoked every year, but I do use regularly now. However, I did not vote for this bill. It's going to result in light pollution. As we know, these are indoor operations. They're connected to law enforcement and lawyers. I've heard that it's going to make it a felony to drive. Now, I was tested a couple of years ago, I think now, and it was in my system after 50 days. I was down at the Great House, Pinellas plantation. They're getting $500 a head for people that are caught with this spice, this synthetic marijuana, which is apparently readily available. It's amazing that 18-year-olds in Colorado, California, I guess a third of the country now, 18-year-olds can go down the street and buy marijuana, but our people are being subject to this. Does anybody know if the 19-year-old Florida State student that was found eating faces of his victims was also under the influence of this spice? Because I think that's what happened in Miami a few years ago with one fella. And the spice is also called K2. It's a synthetic, it's not technically synthetic marijuana. However, it's obviously something that people are taking, maybe even thinking it's you know, I don't really know a lot about it, but I was down at Pinellas Courthouse 3 weeks ago, and they were getting $500 for people that were caught with this stuff. It's out there. It's obviously more dangerous than cannabis is. One more thing, Mitch. Not all truthers believe that Sandy Hook is a hoax. Please tell Rob that. And I still don't take Donald Trump seriously, man. I wouldn't take him seriously if he had me in an electric chair. If you're going to have an industry around it, you've got to get it outdoors. You cannot continue to pollute the environment. These people can't get away with this, man. We're fighting.
Greetings. All praises due. The Selassie, the Messiah. Talking to two different incidents.
If you're going to have an industry around it, you've got to get it outdoors. You cannot continue to pollute the environment. These people can't get away with it.
Okay, thank you. So what's the deal? Where are these, where's this pot going to be grown?
Well, a lot of it's going to be done indoors, of course. You know, any outdoor prevents the issue of the public getting access to it. You know, moving forward, we'll see if industrial hemp becomes part of Florida as well. The industrial hemp bill has failed through Senate committees the last two legislative sessions, but it's died in the House. So it's interesting to see if that.
And what would that bill do?
Well, it would allow for hemp to be grown here in Florida and to produced, cultivated. Florida is the #1 importer of hemp in the country. We import most of our hemp from Canada or China. So, you know, a new homegrown industry, especially with our citrus industry waning the way it is, allowing hemp to become a buffer crop for our citrus industry or some of our other agricultural industries could be a real big boon to it. The problem is you have some prohibitionists in the Florida legislature who view hemp production as a backdoor to legalization, and that's just not true.
Right.
It's a totally, you know, it's the same plant, but it's grown for totally different reasons, at different cannabinoid levels. You can smoke a whole field of industrial hemp and never get high.
Now, let me ask you this, going back to cannabinoid levels and THC levels for that matter, is there a restriction? Is there going to be, famously, I'm looking at a photo here of USA Today, it's got these different strains here, Blue Dream Hybrid, and these other different names. I don't know where this picture is taken, whether it's in Colorado or one of the other states that legalize pot. Is there going to be, any conditions about in terms of the potency of this marijuana, legal medical marijuana?
So Amendment 2 allows for whole plant access, so there's no necessarily restrictions on how potent you can make it, and the potency really should be left up to the doctor and the patient. If a doctor determines that a patient needs a very potent strain, a very potent indica perhaps to help them sleep because they're suffering from cancer, and that sleep is a very important part of the healing process. Maybe they need a sativa to help them with their depression and help them get up and move out throughout the day. There's a lot of different reasons of why you might try sativa versus indica and the different levels of potency you may need. For some people, there's what they call the Harlequin strain, which is more of a balance of THC and CBD, and it's not as potent in the THC arena. So really it depends on the patient, it depends on the condition, or whether you're suffering from Parkinson's or Alzheimer's or you're suffering from cancer or epilepsy. There's a different strain for so many different opportunities to treat. Cannabis plant itself, the cannabinoids regulate sleep, pain, appetite, and the immune system in the human body, which is why the plant works for such a wide range of different diseases. And so, if those things are out of whack, there is a strain that can help get it back in homeostasis.
Okay, let's go back to the telephones. Let's go to Doug, who's been waiting from Largo. Hi, Doug. You're on Midpoint.
Hey, man.
Hey there.
I'm gonna try and watch my language. I get pretty upset about this. Republicans.
Doug. Well, I'm sorry, Doug, you cut out there. I'm sorry, say that again.
I say the Republicans could care less about the health of
Doug, we're losing. Okay.
Cannabis.
Okay.
The only.
Doug, you should move to a different place where you're at because you're weaving in and out. We're not really getting to hear you. All right, Doug, I'm going to can you call back, okay? Because we can't really hear you. Go to another place and let's call right back. Let's go to Kathy in Ruskin. Hi, Kathy.
Hey, so I'm also a daily user. I usually use even during the day, maybe at night, use food right. Each brand does its own thing. Been a user, more of my life than not. It's not taboo for anyone in our family or anything like that. It's just not a big deal. However, my question comes in I guess the money end of it. What I've always read is that they're not allowed to put the money in the bank, so to speak. So how does that work when it's medicinal?
Good question. Chris?
Well, it's a very big cash industry because the way the federal government has it as a Schedule I drug. The Justice Department has sent out memos saying it's okay to do business, but banks don't operate on memos. Banks operate on laws and regulations. And so most of the banks that you're seeing actually do anything with the cannabis industry are small mom-and-pop banks in those legal adult use states. Here in Florida, I've spoken to certain bankers, and they have it on their radar, but until the Justice Department and the SEC really move forward with regulations, and it's the whole Schedule I. Once it's taken out of Schedule I, and there's other regulations written by other departments in the government, you'll see banks moving forward and trying to tackle this. In the meantime, it does create a niche industry for private security and folks who are willing to move that money. So you see in Colorado, a lot of former NARCs, DEA agents, FBI, even ex-military are running private security firms to move both the plant and the money around for these folks. And so you do see the opportunity there. So if you're someone who's interested in that niche of the industry, moving forward in Florida, that can be a moneymaker for folks who never have to worry about growing. Yeah.
All right. Kathy, does that help you out there? Kathy, any other comments? Okay, Kathy just hung up. It's 12:31 in the afternoon, by the way. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Midpoint here on WMNF 88.5 FM. I'm your host, Mitch Perry, here every Thursday at this time, speaking with Chris Cano from NORML, the National Organization Reform for Marijuana Laws.
And, I know I've said this before, people don't drive and kill people because they smoke the joint. Alcohol is legal. If anything, I would go back to, I prefer prohibition on alcohol, which is legal. And I always tell my kids, because I used to be a big pothead, is that you can take a drawer of anything, alcohol, iron, so many different things, man-made things. This compound, that compound, put together. If you took it, you would die. You could take a drawer of marijuana and eat it, smoke it, pack it in your body. never passed the law against it when, as I say, it's so normal. Again, my mother, who has just recently passed and did smoke pot for 2 years. I think I did a while back anonymously because I didn't want anybody to know that my mother was smoking pot if they knew who Deanna was. But now I wish I had spoke up for it, because now, of course, even now, if she was living, if there was so much bureaucracy, and she had polymyalgia, COPD, there's so many reasons that she needed it, but we would still be waiting in line. These people who need it today, yesterday, last year, they're going to be waiting in line for a year or more as it stands. It's so slow. But guys from Normal, why don't we go after the original law?
Okay, Deanna, thank you for the phone call. Your thoughts, Chris Camp?
Well, the original law was the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937, which was actually overturned in 1969 by the Supreme Court with Leary versus the United States. Then the Nixon administration came back, and Congress came back with the Controlled Substance Act of 1970. Cannabis still remains Schedule 1 in the Controlled Substance Act, and currently the only bill to deschedule cannabis, not reschedule it, but take it off the Controlled Substance Act, is being sponsored by Senator Bernie Sanders. It has 0 co-sponsors. So
what about the House? Is that Jared Polis?
Yeah, Jared Polis is also sponsoring a co-sponsored similar bill in the House. Actually, it was Barney Frank and Ron Paul back in 2011. They had a similar bill, which didn't go anywhere. But if you want to start somewhere, Senator Bernie Sanders is the only sponsor in the Senate. So if you're a Democrat, jump on your Democrat's head, and if you're a Republican, jump on your Republican's head. We have one of each here in Florida in our Senate delegation. So contact Senator Nelson, contact Senator Rubio, ask them to sign on to this.
Now, can a president, and that's going to happen under Trump, Obama was very reluctant on this. I think, and Change.com, or Change.org, that was one of the biggest, grassroots, if part of the expression of what the president should do, which I think is to take it off of Schedule 1, marijuana, and the president didn't touch that. Very sensitive to that. So did you feel that there was any momentum at all, currently in the last year, outside of the state, there's really not in the Congress, to declassify marijuana from Schedule 1 drug?
So there's a big push at the grassroots level. 60% of Americans support legalization. What the issue is political will. The president has passed the buck on to Congress to do it. We clearly see there's no support in Congress. Could the president, through executive action, say that cannabis doesn't fit the Schedule 1? Yes, he could, and they could move it. The problem is that if you deschedule or reschedule to Schedule 2 or Schedule 3, you're still going to create a lot of big problems for the states. So, ideally taking it off the schedule or moving it to the very bottom of the schedule are probably the only viable options. The president knows that he doesn't have any viable options at the moment, and so he's kind of in a predicament. So unless he's going to, by executive action, take it totally off the schedule, which would be a great January 20th gift.
The Margaret Act, like Bill Clinton, when he did right before he went out, it caused a stink in some circles, definitely here. Okay, 12:43 in the afternoon. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Midpoint here. I'm Mitch Perry, your host, reporter with FloridaPolitics.com and StPetersblog.com, speaking with Chris Cano, who's in the studio. He's from the Central Florida office of Normal, and we're taking your phone calls, getting your thoughts about this. Let's go to Billy in Hudson. Hi, Billy.
Hello.
Billy, what's up?
Yeah, I have my brother has Parkinson's, and we already use it,
Sure.
illegally. But I think I lost my son from pills and stuff back 12 years ago, and I have what I mean? I have a problem with post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah.
I could use it too.
Sure.
Yeah, and I just think we need to get it rolling here.
Well, it's going to happen, as we've said earlier here, it's going to happen in 2017. It's the law now here in Florida for medical marijuana.
Exactly, but I think they need to roll on it, because my brother could use it even more than me.
Sure. Okay, Billy. Thank you for calling in.
Love you guys.
Okay, bye-bye. Let's now go to an anonymous caller. I got to be careful of these anonymous callers of late calling the program here. Hi, you're on WMNF.
Hey, how's it going?
in the day who was a freedom fighter, and I think I was a member of Normal back in early 80s, mid 80s when they first started, and I'm not sure when they first started, but I'm very grateful. And the thing is, I've been a fighter my whole life and been on probation and arrested. I've been in jail. I've actually had to go to prison for a time for violating probation for marijuana.
Wow.
Smoking there. But anyway, I've been through the ringer and done it all. And but anyways, what my point was is that it doesn't matter whether they legalize it or not to me, because I'm still going to smoke it. And it doesn't matter if you put me in jail, because I smoke pot in jail, so I'm still going to get it.
What?
So anyway,
What facility was that at? That's a story right there.
yeah, but anyway, everybody, my God, yeah.
In prison, really?
Absolutely. But